because that tax is what is going to help our country move forward as long as it does not go to people's pockets. So I'm not about personalities. I am not here to protect or to defend UDA because I'm on, and we shouldn't. Because when you defend the people on your side, or I defend the people on my side, and I have no side, by the way, when we defend any thief, any person who is a tax evader should not feel comfortable on any side. They should be rejected from all sides when we do know them. If we don't know them, this is politics. I don't know what is going on. I just know that everybody should pay taxes. That's all. Thank you.
Asante Ashley. Mzalendo, then nitapatia Makiadi.
Ashley, thanks very much. Julia, Barry. Hey, Makiadi, long time. At least you're build now. Welcome back. Chaka, msimamo ni ule ule. Dominic, karibu, najua you are ready for the rally tomorrow. Ashley, thank you on that note. You know, you are an independent thinker, just like myself. But when you become an independent thinker, you are branded either you are UDA and you don't want to support Azimio's position. These are the same questions that we've been asking. What has really changed? Your consistency in supporting Baba until the handshake. So you wonder what you are resisting about. Right now, they're having rallies, and probably what is brewing on the other side is a possibility of an handshake. Yeah, you have seen, and it's going to come. It is going to come. Baba is just engaging his base, but behind the scenes, a lot is happening politically. I wanted to correct what Julia just said. In 2007, there was a lot of violence in Kisumu. You are right by saying the police were involved in the violence and the killings that happened in Kisumu. You're very positive about that. Luos generally don't kill. It's a taboo to kill. Yeah, so that is the reason why you didn't see so many people being killed. But on the same note, so many Kikuyus were displaced in Kisumu. And you just alluded that you are protected by the same community. The reason why you are being protected is not because you are being protected from the police. You're being protected from the clashes. Another thing that people don't talk about in this show, and that's why you ought to be very independent, and why some of us, when we see Baba, I don't think he fights for the rights of his people and the people who have really campaigned and voted for him. In 2007, there was post-election violence in Naivasha. Over 1,000 people were killed, not even displaced. These were opposition leaders' supporters. They were never compensated by the then government, unlike the ones who were displaced in Rift Valley. Even post-election violence, there were no compensation on these people. So those are some of the things that sometimes when you are in this challenge, you should highlight and tell people the truth. Who were killing these people in Naivasha and who was displacing them? Is it Ruto? Is it Ruto? Those are the questions you'll ask yourself. About taxation, and I see people relating to the Mama Tabitha Karanja, the owner of Karacho Industries. The owner of Karacho Industries, when the taxman came for her, the first person she ran to was Baba at Capitol Hill. And Baba, with his wisdom, negotiated with her to talk to the taxman on a payment plan, kind of, which she violated. That payment plan, she never paid a single dime, and she ran for office, and she won a seat. So the taxman is still after her. And just as Ashley said, nobody in Kenya is above the law. Whether you are the the former first president of the Republic of Kenya's wife, that you should be exempted from taxes. We are not a monarchy. People should pay taxes. Hata kama ni Raila, they should know. And if they are not, I mean, this question is in the public domain. The best they can do is to publish their taxes. We've been paying taxes. This is a big lie. Or if you have got that kind of information, then you should request them to stop this kind of rumors that are going on that they are not paying taxes. Just publish your recent taxes and say, you know, we are tax compliant. When you pay taxes in Kenya, you are given a certificate showing that you are tax compliant. So that is very, very simple. Political leadership, including Raila, should show us their taxes, because taxes in Kenya are the ones that run government. The same taxes are the ones that are used to programs like free primary or secondary education. You don't want to pay taxes, at the same time you want free secondary education. That is absolute nonsense. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Asante Mzalendo. I don't know who is not paying taxes that wants free secondary school education. Mzalendo, I think you should tell us. And I repeat to you, we don't have no evidence that the first family doesn't pay taxes, but we have evidence that Tabitha was not paying taxes. That is why we have the audacity to mention her. Third thing, Raila was never mentioned in the clashes because he's not financing the killings. But people who are mentioned is because they are suspected of financing, planning and financing. That's the difference between Baba and those other people you're talking about. So I don't want to argue with Mzalendo. Nataka kukaribisha Bwana Makiadi. Bwana Makiadi, kuna Domi. And this thing people talking, I'm trying to, Makiadi, before you come in, can we agree on a few things? Can you people show up your faces? I'm seeing mkono ya kuseo, sijui iko wapi. I'm even wondering, hiyo ni mtu ama ni mkono? Actually, I think you need to show your faces. And I don't know, Leo reappeared.
No, Julia, sorry. You know, I was sleeping and I've heard Mzalendo lying to you. The issue of Tabitha, when he ran to Raila, it was not that he was not paying taxes. There was a fraudulent increase in kuna hii pombe kawain fulani alikuja na ilikuwa overtaxed 3 times. And the case she won in court hiyo time akiwa na Raila. So Mzalendo is simply lying. That is why I've just decided to wake up. Thank you.
So Mzalendo is lying at Baba alitetea Tabitha. But Tabitha had cases ya tax, sivyo?
You've only chosen one side of the story. You don't know the whole story. You've only chosen one part of the story. You should know the bigger picture of the story.
Okay, asante Mzalendo. Another thing, Mzalendo, you want us to publish our tax returns to you as who? On the paper. And we don't have to do that. But if KRA has evidence to accuse anybody, let them take them to court. Tuache hii kuropoko ya people tarnishing people's names on the streets. We'll not buy that. But we'll talk about Tabitha 10, 100 times because she has been accused. So I'm asking you people and unknown clips and the others, can you people show your faces? We don't want to speak to the walls. Mimi nikichoka na sitaki mnione, nitatoka. I'll leave the studio. But when I want to speak, I'll come here and show my face. So otherwise, tunashukuru mko pamoja na sisi na tunashukuru the chat section. Endeleni kutuma message, mtu akiwachosha mnaniambia, mnaandika message mwenye mnataka tutoe, mnaniambia hapo kwa chat, tutawatoa kwa sababu hatucheki na watu, kwa maana kesho tunaenda Kibera. Karibu Bwana Makiadi. Domi hajaongea, unknown script hajaongea na Stone PK. I think Domi, Stone PK, then unknown script. Welcome Bwana Makiadi.
Sijui kama nasikika vizuri. Haya,
yes,
asante sana my sister Julia. Let me say hi to you Stone PK, Ashley, Msimamo, Mzalendo, Domi na unknown scripts. Kwa wale ambao hatujaonana mwaka huu, happy new year, happy belated new year. Now, let me begin by addressing this issue here that is taking like Kenyans out of the bigger picture. Mzalendo, when did we start paying taxes as Kenyans? Did we start paying taxes when the Kenya Kwanza government came into office? Is it that before Kenya Kwanza, before William Ruto became the president, Kenyans were not paying taxes? Because when you look at the issues that are being raised here, to an extent where I've never heard Mamangina Kenyatta come out so strongly to condemn an issue that has been spoken, an issue that is in the mouths of Kenyans, like she has done this time. And she was very clear today or yesterday. She said the issues of people paying taxes are not sung kwa campaign na huko nje mahali watu wanaimbia mambo ya taxes juu ya magari. There is an authority, there is a body that is mandated by the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya to collect taxes. Now, if you feel like you have an issue with the Kenyatta family paying taxes, go through the legal channels. Go through the channel that is mandated to collect taxes. Go check her records. If her records show that she has not been paying taxes, then follow the legal way of recovering the taxes from her. That is all she said. And when I looked at her speaking, I understood that the other side that is, making these things so loud is just engaging in politics and shenanigans, distractions, lies, political conmanship. William Ruto was in the previous government. He never at once spoke about people paying taxes, especially the first family. He never spoke about it. Rigathi Gachagua was an MP in the previous parliament. At no single time has Rigathi Gachagua ever spoken in parliament condemning or asking for an audit of the Kenyatta family. So right now, we should be asking ourselves as Kenyans, hii kitu ni genuine ama ni sarakasi zile za UDA tunaendelea kuona? From where I stand, these people have no case against the Kenyatta family. From where I stand, that is my opinion. And if they do, waende kwa KRA. Mzalendo anasema wa publish taxes. Wewe ulipublish taxes zako wapi? Ni nani amewahi ona taxes zako? Who are you supposed to prove to that you are paying taxes? So, saa zingine tunakaaga hapa and we tunapigaga politics hapa. We are not enemies. Sisi tunapiganga politics hapa. But sometimes when you tell us some things, hata sisi tunajiuliza, where did you come from? Hiyo imetoka wapi? Where did you come from with that idea? Hiyo imetoka wapi? William Ruto can make noise about people not paying taxes kwa sababu wewe una support ideology yako and you claim to be independent. I agree with you, but you support William's idea or ideology. Why can't you tell William Ruto also to publish his taxes? Ni nani amewahi ona taxes za William Ruto? We know he's a billionaire. We know he makes over 1 million every day from kuuza mayai na kuuza kuku. Ni siku gani tumeona William Ruto amepublish taxes zake? Ndiposa hata yeye akuwe na moral ground ya kuambia watu wengine taxes zangu ndio hizi nimepublish. Bas, hata wewe kama unaona unakuwa accused wrongfully, toa taxes zako pia upublish, ndio watu waache kufanya namna ile wanafanya sahi. That should be the moral ground ya president ambaye anasema ya kwamba atahakikisha kila mtu analipa taxes, anaweza tumia kuonyesha watu kwamba ako genuine na kufanya watu walipe taxes. Otherwise hizi ni sarakasi. Hizi ni sarakasi. We are 6 months, and yesterday I said and I'll repeat again, we are 6 months into this government. What do they have to show for the longest period they have been in government? Hiyo miezi 6 yenye wamekuwa kwa kiti, wanaweza tuonyesha nini? Nini kitu gani mpya William Ruto anaweza tuambia amefanya? Kama ni hustler fund, it is a failure. It is a spectacular failure. It failed completely. Because if 800,000 people are not able to repay the money, and these are just statistics that are coming from the government itself. This is number Makiadi ameamka siku moja akakuja akasema watu 1800 hawajalipa pesa zao. Hizi ni namba zenye serikali inatuambia kwamba hawa watu hawajaweza kurepay that amount. So why are these people not able to repay this amount? Is it because they don't trust in this process? Is it because they are not able to get money to repay these hustler funds? Then we should be asking ourselves such questions. The bigger picture is Kenyans are suffering. Kenyans cannot even put food on the table. But this government, because it is a spectacular failure, has no idea about how to do policies that work for the people. What they do every day is bring up something new. Tulianza ile maneno ya Chebukati huko kitambo, wakafukuza 4 commissioners, wakaweka commission. Hiyo commission hakuna mtu anaongeaga mambo yake, iliisha namna hiyo. Tukienda kupatana na shida ingine, they come up with something to distract Kenyans. So you can see, if you go back a few days, a few months ago, there was a big story that captured the attention of Kenyans. Those stories zimekufa, probably hatukupata solution, and then we move on to another story. And all this propaganda is emanating from the government itself. So right now, the bigger picture, the big story on the news headlines and newspapers ni Kenyatta family. Ilianza na juzi tu last week, walianza na mambo ya kutoa inaitwa downscaling. Walisema wana downscale security ya the former president. Haikupata ile attention walikuwa wanataka, because Uhuru Kenyatta did not even speak. The people who were expected to come out strongly and say, no, this is a former president, it looks like people did not even care about that. It was not a bad thing. It was not a big thing that they hoped it would be. So now they bring another thing. And najua nyinyi ni wazee kidogo, lakini wale vijana wanaona show yetu. Kuna wimbo moja iliimbwa na jamaa anaitwa Nyashinski. Sijui kama Stone PK ushaisikia mtu anaitwa Nyashinski. Kuna wimbo alimba akisema tuendelee ama tusiendelee. Hiyo wimbo kuna mahali anaimbaga anasema ni lazima ni kutusi ndio ujulikane. So Deputy President wa Republic of Kenya anatusi Uhuru Kenyatta ndiye ajulikane, because hana agenda. He is not known. Ni mwenda wazimu. He is walking. It's a madman walking in the market. Na kwa sababu hapati ile attention yenye anataka apate, inabidi atoe nguo. So the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is a naked man. He wants attention every day. Ni wale Stone PK, unakumbuka ile siku tulikuwa tunaongea hapa maneno ya warembo wawili wanapita, unasalimia mmoja, ni aje supu, mnaishia wapi? Huyu mwingine mwenye utaki ndiye anakujibu, anakuambia tuko na haraka. Sasa that one is Rigathi Gachagua. He's trying to seek attention. Anajaribu kutafuta njia yoyote yenye anaweza patikana anajibishana na Uhuru Kenyatta. Nobody is answering Rigathi Gachagua. He's a madman. This government is run by madmen, watu wenda wazimu tupu. Yeah? So they will look for a way to distract us, kwa sababu wanajua kazi yenye wako nayo saa hii hawawezi fanya. Ni nani siku hizi unasikia akiongea juu ya 98 million yenye walisema walipata kwa treasury? Ni nani anaongea juu hiyo pesa? Hakuna. They complained that they do not have money to run the government. Now they have collected a lot of cash. Pesa imejaa kwa account, kwa hazina ya serikali. Sasa saa hii wako na hiyo pesa, they cannot implement policies because they do not have a policy. They had a plan on paper. Now they cannot put it into action. When I look at my Twitter account every day, ninaona mtu anaitwa advisor wa president wa economy, economic advisor wa president anaitwa David Ndii. Kazi yake ni kutukanana throughout. Enda sahi kwa Twitter account uangalie. David Ndii hana kazi ingine. He's always huko kwa Twitter, ni matusi tu, anajibishana na watu. Hata ukimjibu anakujibu. Because alifika pale afikirie ile kitu alikuwa anaweka textbook policies zinafanya kazi. They are not working. Nothing is working in this government. Hakuna kitu inafanya kazi. So sisi watu ambaye tulisema hii serikali haitoshi mboga, tutaendelea kusema hapa, hawa watu wafanye kazi. Na kama wameshindwa kufanya kazi, njia ni moja peke yake. Njia ni kutoka ama waondolewe. Na kama hawataondolewa, watoke. It's as simple as that. Tomorrow, which is today, I think ni Sunday, imefika Kenya tayari. I think Kenyans are waiting with a lot of eagerness ya kwamba wapewe directions. Kenyans want direction from Baba. Kenyans want direction. Wanataka direction. Waambiwe ni nini tutafanya next. Na kama Baba hatapeana direction, somebody else will come and step into those that spot na apeane direction. A revolution does not need an icon to start it. Ile ilikuwa ni Morocco ama ni Tunisia, ni mama alijichoma sokoni tu, and it cost the Arab Spring. Haikuanzishwa na mtu wa prominent politicians, just a simple person, and that is what is needed in Kenya. Hii kelele tunasikia kila siku ni ya watu ambao hawana kazi. These are idle men and women, people who have nothing to show for Kenyans, and so they should not be entertained. Moving forward, I think mzalendo, moving forward, ukikuja hapa unapiga propaganda, sisi tunakuzima tu hapo. History kama ya kupublish taxes, ukikuja hapa utuambie publish taxes ndio tujue ya kwamba analipa taxes, wewe utuambie yako ulipublish lini. We can Google hapa tuone how much you made and how much you paid, so that we have a level playing ground for everybody. Let me stop there, Julia. I think I'll have another time to contribute.
Okay, sasa chukua usukani Makiadi, uendelee ukaribishe Domi, then unknown scripts.
Yeah, okay, sawa. Domi, karibu. Naona unknown scripts, kamera imekataa kufika chini ama namna gani? Unajua unknown scripts huwa anazima kamera kama mimi, anavunja studio na kuenda. Anyway, Domi, endelea alafu tusonge mbele.
Okay, first of all, it's unfortunate actually amepotea.
I think you can see me. Is it okay?
Yeah, you're fine now. You're fine now, sir. We can see you.
It's unfortunate actually amepotea because I had a word for her. Let me start off by talking about what is on the Mama Ngina response to the allegation of non-compliance in tax paying. I think so far, what I'll say is Mama Ngina ameweka the government naked. And if I was the government, it's just to zip up. Every time what tunasema hapa, when you are in power, you don't go complaining. You are supposed to act. Mama Ngina is just telling them, well, if you think that I don't pay tax, just act. So it's, it's all this noise is rubbish. Mzalendo anakaa kituambia hapa about somebody to publish in tax compliance yake. Now let me ask you, who is supposed to take the burden of proof? Wewe ukipeleka mtu court, it is you to prove. Wewe ndio unatakikana kuprove that is guilty. Not wewe leta evidence yako kwanza. I will show my evidence that I'm not guilty when you have brought yours. Has Ruto brought the evidence? And is he the taxman? Is he the taxman in the first place? Kwani sasa KRA inafanya kazi gani kama yeye sasa ndiye amekuwa mtu wa taxman? You know, it just shows that he's idle. He's not hana kazi. Ruto is not busy. It just shows that he's not busy. He's not up to his task. So those are some of the reasons as to why we don't need such a kind of government. Atuhitaji Ruto. He keeps proving that he is not fit in office. Okay, rally. About the rally, I believe that rally is going to be bigger than the one in Jacaranda. And I must comment those guys that they did not destroy anything of anybody, and I believe those Kina Gaucho are doing their work well, and we still pray for Kina Gaucho to continue doing that. Ensure, ongea na watu. Let it be as peaceful as possible. Sasa, we can clearly see. You know, Sonko juzi alikuja akatuambia kwamba wakati a non-script, I think, tafadhali, mute. Okay, nani Sonko alikuja akatuambia hapa, kumbe the violence does not come from the people of the protesters. The violence is created by the likes of Sonko. Na hao ndio wanataka kutumia hiyo picha ili kuharibu jina la the protesters. So it's now clear that the person who starts violence is now known. So kama tutaona violence, then atakuwa ni nani? The problem ni government. Ndio atakuwa anaanzisha violence, not wananchi. Now let me explain something about a handshake. And I think let's get it clear. Tafadhali na mzalendo uache stop masquerading with this handshake thing. Tafadhali, hii ni story tu yako, unatafuta tu njia ya justify your head for Raila. It is nothing real. Handshake happened kwa sababu gani? Let me explain what happened before it happened. Wakati ule Raila is pushing forward ili to say was pushing Uhuru government out. And let me tell you for a fact, by then, because I was there, I was in Kenya, and I saw things happen. By then, mpaka hakukuwa na toilet paper, tissue paper, just tissue paper. Hakukuwa na tissue paper kwa nini? Parliament. There was no money. And the Kenyatta's government was crippled. That is what happened. Now, while Raila is pushing for that, the likes of Mutembei wanaenda kwa mikutano making campaign na rallies wakisema we are going to prepare for 2022 elections. Now people ask, we are fighting for electoral justice, and you guys, Mutembei and kina Kalonzo, kina nani, they are talking about 2022. We are campaigning for 2022, and we are fighting for electoral justice. You people, you are failing us. They did not hear. Now, imagine the whole thing iliachiwa Raila peke yake. Aliachiwa akiwa peke yake, and he was fighting alone. And now it narrowed to, sasa when wanaenda protest, watu wengine wametoka wameachilia his community alone. This is what happened. It is a fact. Wajaluo ndio peke yake walikuwa wanapigana. And now Raila is like, what? Do you mean mimi watu wangu waendelee kufa and you are taking your own direction? Then why should I go on? Wale wenye tunasaidiana tupigane vita, they are backed down. So, am I alone going to fight? Then it's like, okay, if I was Raila, I would go for the handshake. Because why should the only Luos ndio wakufe? Why? Why should only one community ndio peke yake wao wanapigwa risasi kwa street? No, he had to withdraw because everybody has left him. Raila is fighting alone. Now, how do you go on? At that point, muzalendo wewe, wacha nikuulize, do you have the guts to face the government?
If you ask me a question, do you expect an answer?
No, not yet. Wacha nimalize kwanza. I think it was muted kwa sababu. Okay, kulikuwa na kelele hapa hivi kidogo. Noise. Okay. Okay. There was some noise here. Just I think the coordinator alikuwa amezima my microphone. Okay, what I was saying is there is nobody, hata wewe mzalendo, you don't have guts to push on. You cannot challenge it. So you expect Raila aendelee kusukuma when wewe mwenyewe hawezi. I mean, tafadhali, let's be realistic. So what you need to do, what we need to understand is Raila did not have any other option. Now, why? Because in the end, there was not going to be any solution. But here, let me say this. The difference here is this. This thing is people driven. By the way, hata kusimama kwa Raila, it is not because yeye alitaka. People told him to stand. And he went all over. Akiuliza, nisimame ama nisisimame. So, at this time, ni watu wanaambia, ni njaa ya watu inapeleka watu kwa street. Kama watu waenda kudemonstrate, they will demonstrate kwa sababu ya njaa. They are not demonstrating kwa sababu ya Raila. And Raila is standing for people. How many people? Wewe umeona ni watu wangapi hapo hivyo? Even Ruto does not stand for anybody. It's only Raila. All these years he has been consistent. Kukiwa na shida yeye ndiye anaongeaga. Even during the grand coalition. Kukiwa na shida, people were crying. Prime Minister ongea. Because they knew that if he talks, things will happen. And when he talks, things happen. Sasa, you cannot delete the history. How is he delete? It's just because wewe hautaki wewe na watu. Okay, let me not just say you, but watu wengine kama Ashley na wengine, those people who don't feel who just want to hate Raila about it. It is because of your own thinking. It is not because Raila has failed. And the handshake was done, and it was good that it was done, because we cannot continue killing only one section of the community. Hatungeendelea kuua section moja ya community kwa sababu ya nini? Election. Right now everybody is in. We are in. Communities zote ziko ndani, including hata na Mount Kenya pia wako ndani. Because I have once attended those meetings, and I can tell you, it's for everybody. Kila mtu wako ndani. So this is, and I will tell you again, if there will be violence, it's the government yenye itakuwa imeleta. Na mtu asiseme it is not constitutional. It is constitutional 100%. Kwa sababu gani? The constitution says the sovereign authority inatoka kwa mwananchi wa kawaida. It is from the people. They can donate it or exercise it right by themselves. So they decided to, if they decide to exercise it by themselves, let them do. They have a right to, and it is constitutional, squarely constitutional, to exercise it right by themselves. So, mtu mwenye atakuwa unconstitutional, mwenye atajaribu kuwapinga, the fact that you are the president, wananchi, they have the final say, not you. Ruto is not the final say. Wananchi wako the final say. I will advise people, attend that meeting, na tujaze kabisa. And if people decide to go for State House, let them go, because that is what they need. Wezi kuja kuangaisha watu na finya watu. And before I think the last point nitasema hivi. People have always said hapa on this media, mtu anajitetea anasema I'm independent minded. Let me show you something. Let me clarify something here about being independent minded. Independent minded means you can make a rational and a balanced decision, not leaning on whichever side. And you believe in what is true and what is right. Now, saying or seeing that you are independent minded does not make any difference. You can only do, and we can see that being independent minded by how you think and how you speak. Sasa kuimba tu ati independent minded does not make you independent minded. Look, being independent minded inamaanisha you can see what is wrong and call it wrong. Being independent-minded is when a wrong thing happens, you can stand up on it and say, this is wrong, despite on whether una support nani or nani. It does not mean hautakikani kusupport Ruto vile unataka. You can support Ruto vile mtu anataka. Ama unaweza support Raila vile unataka. But independent-minded is, you can see, unaangalia huku na huku, and you make a right judgment. Kama unaweza kuja hapa utuambia ati Mama Ngina aenda publish nini yake, nini yake. My friend, you are not independent-minded. You are just speaking, but it's not in action. Okay, that's what I'll submit today.
Aya, asante ndugu yangu Domi. Mzalendo utakuja kwako. We are very few here, so we'll have an opportunity to respond. Stone PK na unknown scripts, sijui nani alikuja mbele ya mwingine. I don't know. Stone PK, you want okay. Stone PK wewe ndio ulikuja mbele ya unknown scripts. So
unknown script endelea.
Okay, sawa. Thank you very much. Unknown scripts. Uwanja kwako.
And looks like Richie did not get a good handover notes. How are you, Richie? Stone PK. Stone, are you the stone these people rejected? They were saying some builders rejected some stone.
You can say that again. Not even Kitambo. Hata hapa Mutembei. Now is what they are looking for to build the
Msimamo, I think I know you with another name, eh? How is Mzalendo? Today, Mzalendo has said he is independent-minded. We'll give him the benefit of doubt. Domi, and here in comes Guru. Guru, how are you?
I'm fine, man.
Are you fine, really?
I'm fine, yes.
You are in the dark.
What do you want to see of me? Let me get somewhere you can see me properly.
Now you're fine. Now you're fine.
I'm very fine, yes.
Yeah.
Sema.
I want to start by speaking where Domi left regarding this Mama Ngina thing. Eh? You see, sometimes when some of these elderly people speak, all the people who have commented on Mama Ngina, there is something which was evident, and once upon a time, some certain things you can't see unless you have the insight, you have the foresight. There is something Mama Ngina said, which I think for some of us, we have captured it. Mama Ngina literally threatened these fellows to arrest her, to take her to court. In other words, as you said, tax they didn't start paying yesterday. He said, anybody who thinks that I've done anything wrong, I've not been paying. In fact, she started by appreciating that everybody must pay tax. Those were the words from Mama Ngina herself. She said, we must all pay tax. Then she went ahead to say, if she is in the wrong, let her be arrested. Let her property be sold. Now, those were open threats. In other words, she was actually daring the KK government. Anyway, having said that, the Kenyatta family have got big businesses, non-businesses. Now, there is the issue of inheritance tax, and I think apparently a law was passed which gave certain people certain exemptions. If you are not happy with it, the best thing you should do, I think, Richie, do what Cherargei was trying to do. Take the matter back to Parliament, let it be rescinded. If there were these things which they call tax breaks, Certain times tax exemptions and tax breaks are given to certain people on certain matters. And I think that is basically what could be free on what the Mamaginas have been enjoying. Any other thing, any other businesses, the Brooksides, and all those related businesses, I'm sure they are paying taxes. These are people who are audited and they file accounts. So if you did not get a tax break, if you did not have a tax break, you must be paying tax. You must be paying tax. Otherwise, KRA is asleep. But if she is enjoying it because of a tax break, then for Gachagua to behave with it in public the way he was trying to do, I think that was very, very unfair for the first family. And in any case, it is not Gachagua's work to collect tax. Tax is collected by KRA. If you are in the wrong, they take you to court the same way they were trying to do with Keroche. I think that is how it should be. There have been these comments about nani alikuwa anacheza nani who was playing who, Uhuru, Ruto, what, they were friends, they were doing this and this to Baba. And I think, I'm sorry, some people on this panel have been trying to do that. Nothing can be further from the truth. If you only know how Uhuru became to be chairing that peace commission, for heaven's sake, it wasn't that because of Ruto. If Uhuru was not already chairing that thing, believe me, Ruto would have kicked him out. Ruto was at a loss how to get Uhuru off the hook, off that hook, and stop him from chairing. And the peace in those areas was threatening. They had to go on. He had just walked in as a president. And in any case, that was not for a Kenyan president. It happens that the African Union, during the time, settled on Uhuru to chair it because he was then head of state. And chairing that commission was not coming to an end simply because Uhuru as now is a retired president. There are very many retired presidents who are still peace creators. So that there was no hindrance. And I've seen a narrative being painted that it's like Uhuru gave Ruto a job. Sorry, Ruto gave Uhuru a job. And even the likes of Babu talking about this so carelessly. At who did Ruto give a job? The first person. Uhuru was already the chair of that peace force. Ruto had facing challenges. How do you drop him? Anyway, I think that point has reached home. Now, sometime yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? I did say here that we want to have some code of conduct around here, whereby you can't come here bringing falsehoods. Give people 4 chances. If you come with something which everybody here sees as falsehood, misleading, propaganda, and you insist on it, I did tell Bernard that being taken to quarantine may not be good enough. You give the person 1 chance, 2nd chance, 3rd chance, 4th chance. We subject whatever their position they are portraying here to an investigation. I'm a research person. If we find out that what you are bringing around is propaganda and you are just trying to call it to misinform this platform, I did suggest that such people should be allowed to come on board the way LX has come, but no opportunity to speak as punishment. No opportunity to speak. You see, what we went through 007, 008, those are hurting issues. Like somebody said here, the people who died during that time, I think Julia was here, majority were victims of police shooting. You remember the GSU fellows who were chasing some people around some corners and shot them at point range, point blank? Now, wananchi in Kisumu, the way Julia was trying to explain, wananchi in Kisumu killing fellow wananchi were almost none. Of course, property was destroyed. That everybody agrees. But fellow Kenyans, civilians killing fellow civilians because they are not because they voted for Kibaki or they didn't vote the other way. Those ones are they have not heard of the statistics. But if somebody has, maybe you can justify. You can justify. Lydia Julia herself to explain to you how herself she enjoyed protection from the same fellows who, according to others, should have been beating her. Now, there is this issue around tomorrow's, is it tomorrow's, rally. Now, you realize that if you are also having foresight, you would know that the KK regime is really busy trying to find out to distract everything here. And those arrests, some of the arrests which have been mentioned here, I also agree with some of the sentiments here. They are trying to use them to provoke wananchi. You see, Babu Owino is in public. Some of his supporters have gone in public on air saying that you arrest Babu, we'll defend him with stones. Some of his supporters have gone on air talking like that. Now, if you are on the KK side, you may then be tempted, why not arrest Babu so that his supporters can be provoked? They march to the police station. Then you spark violence, because that is what they are looking for. Even the MCA who was arrested, they were hoping that his supporters would go and start Mufurugu at the police station. Somehow, I think whoever was advising the supporters did a very good thing. They did nothing of the sort. So they are trying to find a way how to provoke anything. And as much as some people keep saying that they are going to go to State House, never mind that if you are not careful, KK can buy some people to march to State House on your behalf to start some trouble. Some of these things we need to be aware of them. So they have to be very, very careful. Infiltration is the politics of KK. Infiltration and then you buy. Infiltration, then you buy. You keep buying support here and there. Now, something else I wanted to talk about regarding the elections. Now this whistleblower and the dossier, it's indicating that Ruto did not win. Now, it is wrong for us to start saying that those who voted for, there are certain areas which are being said that voted for Ruto. But if you check the dossier, it shows otherwise, that actually these people voted for Baba. So in other words, as much as Kenyans are suffering because of the bad things of the KK government, maybe we should not concentrate in saying that let them feel bad because they voted for Ruto, because then we are contradicting ourselves. What it means is that according to the dossier, Ruto was not voted for by Kenyans. So all Kenyans are realizing that the votes that Ruto got could not make him president. In other words, he is not a valid winner. Hence, speakers should stop saying that they voted for Ruto, let them feel the consequences. No, they did not vote for Ruto. So there are no consequences. They should be feeling it. People should find a way how to support Baba. Personally, I'm not so sure exactly how you want to go about reclaiming the victory. But I'm just getting concerned because I know the sort of tricks that they want. They want to portray that these rallies are supposed to be violent. So don't be surprised if one of these days they go and sponsor some boys, because they have money and they believe in buying whatever they want to do. And then you just find a crowd has been bought and they are marching to State House. After all, Alex, Shimulisema mtaenda. Who will know that that is not you? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Unknown Scripts. I will give it to Stone PK next. Stone PK, your audio.
Stone PK has been hacked.
It looks like Stone PK, you have an issue with your audio. Can you try once again to scare? Haya, inaonekana umefanyiwa ile kitu unasemanga wamekufanyia kimilitant. So ukitafuta vile utarudi, wacha tuende kwa Guru haraka haraka tena. Karibu Guru.
Asante sana. I greet you again, all of you. Alex, Mzalendo, Ndomi, and Unknown Scripts. Now, Kenyans are today headed to Kibla in what we call a continuous search for justice. We wait to see what happens and going forward. I don't know whether some of you saw that our Minister for Agriculture, the so-called Mithika Linturi, was in Tanzania yesterday, visiting an investor who has a fertilizer line and is now talking of starting to import fertilizer from Tanzania from next year after he has consulted with his boss. The investor is said to have grounding in Tanzania and in Burundi. That set me thinking hard, because the first time I heard of Kenya wanting to have a fertilizer line was during the first term of Kibaki, and the plant was to be somewhere in Kamukuya in Western Kenya. And then shortly after, I heard that the plant would be taken to somewhere in Eldoret, and that was the last we heard of it. Some of these things just expose how our country has squandered opportunities for advancing itself. And we just might become the market for products that are coming from our neighbors. After all, we are in the East African community and we are in COMESA together. That means if we are not careful, Kenya could just become a market for products. And that comes with its consequences. One of the consequences is loss of jobs or potential jobs. The other one is loss of revenue that would accrue to our economy. Those who know about agriculture, they know that Kenya consumes fertilizer many times ahead of our neighbors. We are the greatest consumer of fertilizer in this region. So it is laughable that we have to rely on our neighbors to get fertilizer for our agriculture. Now, we have to talk these things so that Kenyans can know where we are. Because after all, at the end of the day, we want this country to develop. and also says opportunities that are there. There is no way that a company can set up in Tanzania and maybe 60-70% of their sales are in Kenya. That shows then that we have a problem ourselves. And it's a fact. You go and do your research, you will find out that Kenya consumes more fertilizer than our neighbors combined in terms of agriculture activities. And that's a fact. That's not mere talk. This government has a lot of, as a hill to climb. When you have unsettled political question, you don't have much to tell the investors, because there is no investor who would want to go to a destination where there is noise, where mere change of regime means drastic change of policies. That is classified as unstable investment destination, because you do not know where your business will be in 5 years, in 10 years. And unfortunately, the current government that we have has been making drastic, sudden changes that investors are not mostly comfortable with. Moving to the to what we expect today and going forward, Raila has already started giving an inkling of what he has in mind. One of the things that he is proposing is that we do away with the IBC as currently constituted, and we have an evolved system of IBC, so as to remove that collusion and conspiracy that has brought us so much pain every election year. So therefore, I do not know how the other side will take it, but I think that is one of the things that Baba will be putting on the table. And we wait to see, because there's a democracy. People will have to discuss and find how practical it is, and how fast it can come to be. And in any case, I think he has put up a very strong case, and that is very viable, that technology is now the new threat to democracy, not just in Kenya, but in Africa, where a group of political elite align themselves with the service providers, the so-called ICT companies of the Kamago type, to twist and circumvent the right of the vote. And that is a very viable accusation. It's happened in Kenya, it's happened in Uganda, it's happened elsewhere. So this is a big fight, not just for Kenya, but for democracy in Africa. Nobody can ignore that one. Not even the so-called partners across the world. If they purport to advance democracy, they cannot simply look the other way. In any case, a country like ours that is just emerging from a very deeply ethnicized society, the only way to prevent conflicts is to have fair systems. especially of self-determination. And therefore, this is a fight that is going to the global level. It is not just a local. It's not just a local problem. It's become an African problem. For those who wish our young nations like Kenya goodwill into the future, they have no option but to support changes that will bring harmony, that will bring fairness, that will not leave countries divided, like Southern Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, Central African Republic, and so on and so forth. I don't think these countries would want to add another burden to this region. So therefore, I see a very strongly coordinated lobbying that is going beyond these boundaries. So those Kenyans thinking this about Raila, I think they are short-sighted. This is a movement that is going to sweep even the whole of Africa. The examination of technology and its place in the democracy of African countries has been put on the spot. And you can imagine it's not going to be an easy thing. Baba is not a fool. That's why he had to find a forum at the that leadership forum in Nigeria to sound a warning to those who want to use the technology as a way of circumventing the rights of the people to vote for the government that they want in Africa. I can assure you, this is a movement that will start in Kenya, will sweep through Africa, and perhaps even internationally. Whether technology in itself is a hindrance to democracy, and in fact, a possible source of conflict in societies that are ethnically divided like ours. So wala wanafikiria hii ni mambo tu ya Raila hapa, anaongea hapa, anaenda Kamukunji, anaenda Jacaranda. Just watch the space. Asante.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guru. I think there's a request here that at least we have 3 minutes of submission so that we move the line quicker. And I see sitaki kukatishia mtu, lakini at least we have another lap. But Guru, thank you for your submission. Inaonekana unabembeleza mboga sana. Huyo jamaa anapiga nduru huko nyuma, angekuwa kwa sufuria. Anyway, Stone PK, microphone yako imekuwa mzuri ama tuende kwa Alex Media?
Patia Alex tu, hamna shida.
Haya, maridadi. Alex Media, karibu.
Na wasalimu wote. Makiadi, I haven't seen you for a long time. Nice to see you. A non-script. Nasikia kukuita ile jina yako mzuri lakini siwezi. Mzalendo, my friend from Mutembei. Stone PK, Domi, my good friend. Roba, the real revolutionarist. Jameni, the intellectual. Nimefurahi sana. I'm more excited this day. There's no words to explain or describe my anticipation. First of all, I want to answer Guru on the issue of Linturi going to Tanzania. It's very shameful for us to go there. On the clip that Bernard put for us the other day on the basic philosophy that Munangawa, after they realized that their coffers and their food baskets had been depleted and no country was willing to give them food, and fuel and everything had become expensive. On the 7th principle of the basic philosophy, he said about fertilizer. They asked, what does the fertilizer contain? what do they put in the fertilizer? So they put their best brain together and they realized that whatever that fertilizer had, everything they had, and therefore they decided to make their own fertilizer and say today they have 240 ton of metrics, something like that, of their own fertilizer. And this is what Mnangagwa said. And they are hoping next year they are going to export fertilizer to other countries. That is Zimbabwe, which you know very well is very unstable after the so many years of Mugabe being in power. Now imagine Linturi going to Tanzania for fertilizer. It is not an achievement. I think it is an embarrassment. My main point, and that's where I will finish, is a non-script. This is not time to be pessimistic. You know, I've listened to you. You are not encouraging us. You are just discouraging us. You are putting us that whatever we are doing today is a mirage. It's like you're wondering what we are going to do in Kibera. This is not the time to say such kind of things. It's time for us to stand firm and understand that we have a plan. We just can't go to Kibera just for the heck of it. We went to Kamukunji, we went to Jacaranda, and I think there is a purpose that we are going there. I believe, first and foremost, we are going to have the Kibera Declaration. And the first thing that we are going to demand is the IBC reforms and judicial reforms. And one of the things that we want in the judicial reforms is the ombudsman, so that it can try to regulate the bullshit that we have seen within the judiciary. So it is time for us to mobilize our people so that they can understand that the judiciary has become, has gone berserk to a point that if today Makiadi had a serious problem that needed constitutional amendment that will help all Kenyans, there is no place to go. We will just come here in Mutembei, we talk, we finish, we go home. So I think we must come and mobilize our minds. And as you said, you are a researcher. I think you have done enough research to know that we don't have a judiciary. So I think the Kibera Declaration is basically not to disturb the country or to put the country into anarchy. It is to put our country back into constitutionalism, because where we have gotten, one man is running the show. And how can we stop that one man so that we can give the relevant institutions their mandate? For instance, he's talking about people paying their taxes. That is not his mandate. That is KRA mandate. And you have seen him overstretch and speak things that sometimes I wonder if he understands he is the president and he has people under him that he has regulated or delegated duties so that they can help him. So what we are going to do in Kibera is not futile. We have a plan. And if Ruto is not going to listen to putting the country into order, that is when we must march to status. But Kenyans must come out to show him that the country is not going to the right direction. Secondly, the reason we are going there, and the reason even KKA is part of this movement, is after so many months, nothing has been actualized. Kenyans are hurting. Not only you, not only me, not only Mzalendo, it is everybody. And I think I've heard and I've seen, even Duke the other day said the economy is not doing well. So a non-script, when we are going to Kibera, it's not a mirage or futility. It is the hurting of the people. And I can't wait for people to come and show Ruto that he is not running the country in the right way. And we must encourage these people because we are not there. I wish we could be there at this time because that is part and parcel of our constitutional duty. When Makau Mtua spoke in Abuja, he said, what is our objective as citizens when we see the country being run in the wrong way? And he gave an example of the whistleblower. What did the whistleblower do? He realized that the election had been stolen. He knew the results. He could not keep quiet. And his duty was to do what? Tell Kenyans the truth. So even Mzalendo is here. He knows very well Kenya is hurting, even if he's supporting KKA. So I think it's a collective problem that needs a collective solution. So as we go to Kibera, I urge people not to be violent. I urge people not to throw stones, as some people have said that, when they urge that if Babu Wino is incarcerated or wherever, that they are going to throw stone. I think those are rhetorics that are medieval. What we are trying to do right now is to rectify a simple thing that Ruto is really complicating. If Ruto really understood what we are trying to do, he could just make simple amendments and people will just accept and move on and leave him as long as he accepts the IEBC reforms, judicial reforms, and accept that we need an ombudsman so that it can tame the rogue judiciary. Those are my remarks for now, because my 3 minutes are over.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex, for your remarks. I think I don't want to take any more time. I want to move the queue faster. So, Stone PK, if you're ready. If you're not, we can move on to another person as you prepare.
Move on.
Sorry. Thank you, Stone PK. And Jeremani, it's your time now.
Mr. Makiadi, thank you. I think some very wise words have been mentioned here. Allow me a few minutes to make some notes and then I can be more structured when I submit.
Maridadi. See, the best thing about moving a debate a notch higher is everybody. Sasa ile vitu ya mzalendo, unaona watu wameogopa kukuja. Mzalendo, unaona ile propaganda yako sasa ukijaribu kuleta hapa ya kupublish
propaganda gani?
Ile propaganda ya kupublish taxes sasa hapa ukileta utapigwa mawe. Nasikia Jeremani amesema kwanza anataka kuandika notes zake ndiye akuje na akiwa na structured presentation. We are moving the debate a notch higher. So ile story ya propaganda tunawacha saa ingine huko nyuma. Unakuja una debate na watu ambao unawapatia facts na wanajibu na facts. So let me move on to Roba. Happy New Year to you, Roba. Karibu.
Happy New Year, Mr. Makiadi. Nice to see you. I don't know, you just disappeared on us. That's fine now. So, Msarendo, Alex, and non-scripts. I was about to call you your own name. You're China, if I Stone BK, Tommy, Jeremani. Anyway, so I don't want to waste my 3 minutes. I was here early before Bernard left, and I just came back because of Musarendo. Musarendo, I want to remind you, I see you, what you were talking about, Churi, and the other lady about 207. There's nobody, none, who was killed in Nyanza because of 207. Somebody was, policemen, they shot people, but people that killing one another because of election, that one never happened. Property, yes, it was destroyed. I was there. I was one of the victims. I was in Kondere for one day in a real mattress. The following day, I found myself in my home in Kisii. So, people were killed. That one is not a true statement. Sasa, wacha niongee mambo kidogo. Me and Stone PK, we have been calling for a revolution here since before even election ilianza. Tulisema hii mambo kama wakiiba kura, things might go the other way around. And in fact, they did. Go back to the tapes and you see some of us what we said. We will fight Ruto until the last minute. And that's what's happening right now. But here's some of the points, like Mr. Musalendo, where you have also think about this. I told Kenya to go on privacy. How does Ruto know that the Uhuru family is not paying taxes? I mean, when that president comes that yeye ndio amekuwa sasa KRA, so what he does, anaenda kuangalia mwenye amelipa na hajalipa. I thought we had institutions. Somebody was talking about Kenya to go institutions. If the president, who gave him that? Where's the privacy? Why can't the whole family and the other people sue him if the Kenya courts work? Yeah, because he went to spy. Yeah. Where that we have in a constitution where it says the president has to want who has paid or has not paid taxes, and now he comes here and he starts talking in public. He has broken the law. That's one thing. Another thing I want just to talk about Guru. Guru just said the technology is hindering democracy in Africa. I think you are wrong. Democracy is not being hindered by technology. The problem is people don't understand what technology is. William Ruto, that's what a server is. He doesn't know. If technology is being used, is not being abused, open the servers, then we know one direction. As simple as that. Musarendo was here the other week, he said he's supposed to open the server to see who won, but nobody's doing it. And because of that, I'll just say it's the way we use technology on the way we do things. If we abuse it, then it's going to hinder democracy. And that's what African countries are doing. My question to you, why do you think our IBC, why do you think they never even come to USA or somewhere in UK to buy some materials for election? Because they knew if they do what they were going to do, most like USA or UK, because everything will be accounted for. And that's why they will never get near there, because they knew very, very well they want to steal the election. They want to go and have some kickbacks, stolen the way they do their budgeting and other things, corruption. Because of corruption, that's why you never see. In fact, I'm telling you one thing is, why can't we require that, okay, the next time we want maybe USA to give us the technology and whatever this from the everything for election, it will be accounted for. But because of corruption and other things in Kenya, they will never go out to a country where they know laws work, where things work, where they know everything. Like now, I can tell you what, from what I know, during election day, there was some other extra ballot papers which were being all over the press. What happened to them? And nobody, where are they? Who's investigating? And that's how they start the election. One thing I want to tell you, huyu Sakayo, since ya Magwini election, alikuwa amejitengeneza hii bomu na ameweka kwa shingo. The more we go, the more hii bomu inaendelea. And this bomb is going to explode on his neck. He called for this one here. Na hii bomb, it's going. And it exploded na itachoma hata hiyo matako yake, mina kuambia kweli. The guy is so stupid because Raila gave him a chance. Raila kept quiet. What he did, wakaanza kupiga kifua. We won an election. We won an election. What can you do? Sasa amekuja na hii mambo ya tax. Oh, so he just woke up. Yeah, he just woke up. Now, wakati alikuwa vice president, what did he do? Sasa is pretending, oh, they had a regime. Yeah, in Kenya, we had who is in the record? Who was the vice president of Kenya when Uhuru was a president? People like Musarende want to tell us Ruto was not a vice president. Anybody who's telling me that Ruto was not a vice president, he had no power, you are so stupid, and I call it stupid. This man has been just the one who has brought the Kenya economy down since he was the Minister for Agriculture. We know that. When he was a vice president, why he never said he would never pay taxes? And now he's attacking the family. How did he know? I mean, there are some things here we have to say the truth. This man, he was a vice president. Okay, he won the election the way he put it, he won the election. Okay, you have been shown as a president. What do? You say you won by 200,000 people. Then from there, you behave as if you won the election by 5 million. I'm tired of him. Hii mambo ya taxes, italibuka kwake. And I'm just telling you, they had him thank Raila. By now, huyu jamaa angekuwa amekatwa kichwa. People are angry. I'm just telling you. Ni vile two things are just like, okay, people, they are waiting Raila to tell them, you know what? If I was Raila, I would keep quiet. Wananchi wenyewe, they go for him. Now hata ameweka, now it's even more worse when he's attacking. Now it's he imekuwa very strong. Very strong. But I mean, these people, I don't know the way they are thinking. No, advice. I don't know who's advising this guy. Yeah. Now they are telling us at wanaenda kununua nini kutoka Tanzania. Wacha niachie hapo. Makiadi. Ai. Hii ni ngumu.
Haya, asante.
Ribato.
Ngoja Ribato, ngoja Guru Ribato, ngoja. Kuna watu hawajaongea, Stone hajaongea, Jeremani hajaongea. Stone, naona uko tayari sasa.
Ya, asante Richie. Nafikiria wale walikuwa wanataka kuniharibia mitambo, waambie Azimio tuko na mitambo mingi. Kijaribu hii tunainua hii. Thank you very much, Richie, and also I thank all of the panelists. And let me say it's yet another good day. In fact, tunataka tumaliza hapa kuongea mambo, alafu ndio tuanze kwenda kumonitor yale ya muhimu. For me, kawaida sikuji hapa kuanza kupaka kuku ama kuosha kuku, ama kupaka vipara mafuta nikidanganyana mtu ana nywele. I'm here to actually call it as it is. I'm not here to discuss about taxes because you're nonsense. It's the stupidity thing of the worst order. It's among the stupid things about Ruto and his cahoots. It is a characteristic of, thin thinkers. I call them thin thinkers. People with brains, but they're not working brains. Trying to bring issues as if Kenya, watu wameshuka kutoka kwa ile balloon ilikuwa US juzi. All of a sudden, big bang theory, boom, taxes. Next time utaanza kusikia, kwanza ulianza kusikia kuna mahali watu hatuwazai, they are not doing good job. Mkadebate hiyo karibu mwezi mzima. Look at that stupidity. Then mtaletewa ingine. You'll be given all those kind of nonsensical, stupid discussions. Muna waste hapa. Tuna kazi moja sisi. Wala watu tuna support baba, we have only one job. Hizi job zingine mnaletewa, sijui Ruto ati angefanya ama anatakiwa afanye, sijui the economy is doing badly. That is not our that is not where we are. We don't care whether the economy is doing badly or is doing well. Because one, those of us who have brains, we know it cannot do well. That is simple. Economy cannot do well under Ruto. A thief, you don't expect a hyena to multiply your goats in the bush. Umeachilia mbuzi huko zinachungwa na hyena, and then wewe uko Nairobi unasema mbuzi zangu zinazaana, Christmas zitakuwa. You must be a idiotic person. Na sijui watu kama tuko na idiots kama hao Kenya. We are seated somewhere expecting economy to improve. Rintuli is going to learn about agriculture in Tanzania. I said this in this forum. You will be going to research in Tanzania very soon. You will soon be going to Zimbabwe. It's not an embarrassment, but it is stupidity. Where were you? Tanzania industry kuanza jana, nikiwa correct. I think somebody said the investor came the other day. No. That factory, I know where it is. It is on your way to Manyara. It's an old factory. Tanzania has never imported fertilizer for decades of decades. I mean, it's common sense. I mean, but you see, most Kenyans are myopic. Akina Ruto. If you even tell Ruto to go atembee mahali kama Tanzania, hawezi enda. Jumuizi anataka tu pale kwake kuiba tu. That is agenda number one. Priority number one ni kuiba. Okay, so a thief will not even look beyond so long as there is honey here. Yeah, kwa hii kukija. Okay, Tanzania started producing excess fertilizer decades ago, which we should have partnered with them. But because that is where there is a fertile cow, ya kukula, and the corruption in us, we discourage that. There is so much that we can import from Uganda. Maize and everything. Uganda can feed Kenya 10 times. Maize, beans, and all that. Actually, Kenyans go to Uganda to buy maize and beans and come and sell in Kenya. That is a common sense. Tanzania can feed us with any cereal you want.
No, the eggs. They buy eggs to sell
buy,
in Kenya.
No, they buy egg, they buy beans, they buy maize, everything. Nani? A non-script, I was working in the zone that produces maize, even mihogo import.
What about eggs?
Eggs in eggs Uganda ni kama inaitwa nini? Peremende. They can even give you for free.
Yeah, they sell in Kenya.
Uganda can give you eggs for free. Same thing, they have sausages. Now they're even producing, they want to double or triple what we produce at Farmer's Choice. Of course, the technology, how iko chini kidogo, the taste is different. So some of us are myopic, including the so-called Ruto. You know. So when I see people, I mean, for me, I even don't want to discuss about it because that is what you expect. So that gives me and leads me to what I've been seeing here. Kazi ile wa Kenya tuko nayo ni moja tu sahi. Moja tu kung'oa Ruto through hooks or crooks. Na si ati tuombe, Alex anasema tuombe watu wasitupe mawe, kazi ya kung'oa mwizi, you will have a lot of things. Mahali pana kichinjio hapakosi damu. When we are slaughtering this bull, this hyena, kutakuwa na damu ita split somewhere. Na tutaomba Mungu tuseme tu wale wataenda ewala, rest in peace. Okay? Mau did the same. There was no, sijui tufanye nini. I had somebody who came here and contributed so much, wasted a lot of time. Oh, Raila was there. Why did he go for a handshake? Why didn't he do that then? Those are what I call retrogressive thoughts. Akili ndogo. You know, when you start in any project, when you start saying, why didn't we do then? You are a defeatist. You fail on step number one. That I should have achieved this then. This is what we should have done in 1992. My brother, you are talking of 2023 election was stolen in August. Then you start telling us about the handshake of 2017 when mgonjwa. You are a sick person. Okay? If you don't know the cause. Yes, we tried that. And for that time, the handshake was the most thing, and it solved that problem. That's why they say Rome was never built in a day. That's what they say, the longest journey begins with one step. If you start to say, unajua, jana ningeenda steps 10, you will stay there. Forget about jana and move forward. That's why majeshi wanasemanga forwards ever, backwards never. You are moving, you see your guy has been killed here, may drop. What you do, unatoa uniform, unachukua crown, unachukua bunduki and you move on. Ama mnamchukua kama ameumia, mwende mkamfanyie nini, mkamtreatie huko mbele. Mkiona atakufa hata mnamuua ndio asikue mzigo, ama asije akatoa confession. That is it. We are at war. Tuko kwa vita, na vita inaitwa revolution made in Kenya, which will be transforming the entire Africa. This revolution is supported by 3/4 of Africa. That's how bad it is. And that's how sad it is to Ruto. That if, can you imagine African people looking for Raila as a savior? You guys, those of you who read, I know you already know this. Those of you who are listening to conferences and exhibitions and workshops know this. For me, for the last 4 or 5 months, I've been just reading and listening to workshops and UN, you know, all those, what we call them, freedom, what do we call them? The leadership, you know, conferences, where people are now looking at African election as a global threat. But some of us are so myopic, we don't know that. Kenyan election is not a Raila issue. It is a threat to democracy. Yesterday I was submitting and I said democracy is totally dead. It will only be resurrected in Kenya. And again, it will be mobiled and renamed in Kenya. Take that to the bank. You remember me when I'm not there. That democracy died, it will be resuscitated and revived and renamed in Kenya. Take that to any bank that is remaining in the world. Because people have realized, even the big nations, hata EU, munaita US, wame realize the mistake. And they have retreated. Only that they are very clever. That's why they are superpower. Ni werevu sana. They realize their mistake, they swallow their pride, and they correct it and emerge as if they are the initiators. Look at M-Pesa. Who owns M-Pesa these days? Who goes proudly calling it sijui tap, sijui nini, sijui wapi, sijui, branded so many times, but it is the original M-Pesa ya wale vijana wawili wa JKU card. It is all forgotten that it came from Kenya because people are clever. So now they have realized, initially they were supporting this mwizi. The retreat they made ilikuwa hata sijui ni 180 degrees. They turned the other way around. Now they are telling him, Maze, we ni mwizi ni ukweli. Correct you and kwisha yeye. Yeah. So instead nichukue dakika mingi, let me say that we have only one aim. Kazi ni moja tu. Na hii kazi, we have the reason, we have the sababu, we have the reason why we should go for the revolution, okay? We have the reason why we should remove Ruto. In fact, hii mambo ya kuongea, we are just gaining momentum so that it is not stopped, all right? We have reason. And then uwezo tunao pia, to quote Nyerere, we have the capacity. You saw the capacity in Kamkunji, you saw the capacity in Jacaranda. Hiyo inaitwa Trizek. Trizek tulifanyia nani? Kamkunji. Yeah? Mujaribu tumefanyia Jacaranda. Sasa kesho ni mchezo. Leo ni mchezo katatamba leo. So Alex, wacha kuogopa. Kama brother yako ako pale, we muombe Mungu sana. Ni uombe tu. You know, let's say our prayers. Those who are Catholic, hold the rosary. Those who will not manage, tutakutana nao kule kwingine. But the revolution must succeed. It must succeed. Ruto must go. There is no discussion. Mambo ya mama ngina sijui nini, tuachane na hiyo ni upuzi, hiyo ni ushenzi. Hiyo ni ujinga, upumbavu. He said in his stupid manifesto that his will be to empower institutions to do that. Why doesn't he empower KRA to do their job? See how stupid he is? And then people sit here saying that Mama Ngina kwanza amemmaliza kabisa. In fact, after Mama Ngina speaking, everybody should go out today morning and remove this idiot from office. He's useless. He's just going to agitate people. He's the most useless president that Africa will ever have had. Take that to another bank. This guy is blank. He's occupied with Wheezy too, stealing. Look at who is talking about tax. He's the highest defrauder of taxes. mwizi kabisa, na ndiye anapiga huko na kwanza Gachagua ni nini? Takataka ya watu. Ati ndio wana preach about taxes. So Kenyans, tuachane na mambo ya tax. Let's go to Kibira, and from Kibira kama katatamba katambe. Kama katatamba katambe. Jamaa atokee kwa dirisha aende, na nimesikia Museveni hata mpokea, so sijui ataenda wapi. Aishie kabisa, there will be no regret, and we will never miss Ruto.
Ile insurance yake inaitwa
Amako ilikufa. Hiyo ilikufa,
hiyo ndio walikula pesa ya Kenya kweli.
Ilikufa hiyo, ilikuwa ya kukula pesa za serikali. Ilikufa kama nini, degree faculty yake ya botany, sijui yo science. It was recorded, ikaanzishwa, alipo graduate ikafunga. That is the kind of president you have. Bwana Makiadi, I'll come later.
Sawa, Stone PK. Hii mikono hatuwezi ngojea kwanza mtu wa mwisho aongee. Stone PK, uko na marafiki huko wa comment section, wanakupenda sana. Unaweza angalia ile kitu wanaongea.
Waambia hao ni wangu watu.
Kwa wakati wako. Haya, fanya namna hii. Jerumani ataingia next, but before nimpatie nafasi, mkono mmoja ilikuwa ya Guru. Dakika only a minute wenye wanataka ribato, alafu Alex Roba only a minute, alafu we'll come back to you guys.
No, not even a minute, seconds. I want to make it clear to Roba, I did not fight technology. I just said that a debate has been opened in Africa and in the world about the role of technology in delivering free, fair, verifiable elections. And Kenya is going to be a test case of how elite can come together, conspire, and circumvent the rights of a people. So what we do going forward, that's all what I wanted to put on the table.
All right. Thank you so much. Alex, a minute.
I think we all read. It's not like we are illiterate or we don't watch what is happening in the world. Some of us, in terms of revolution, we subscribe to the book of War and Peace by Leo Tosley. And it's not that we do not want us to succeed, but there are so many ways to succeed. For instance, in India, Mahatma Gandhi decided to use a means that was a little bit different. Even though it was gruesome, or I don't even know which word I can use. Aliambia watu wakaamuka asubuhi, wakaenda kwa mbeberu, watu 1,000,000, wakakunia kabisa katika hiyo place. By the time hao watu wanaamuka asubuhi, ni mafi ilikuwa huko peke yake. Na that person moved away back to Britain.
Alex.
No, I'm saying what War and Peace. If you read the book War and Peace by Leo Tosley on how you can do nonviolent means and be able to win right away. And that's what Mahatma Gandhi, go read. Alichukua, mobilized 1 million people. Wakaenda wakakunia kwa state out nje. And the guy moved away immediately. And by the time he was moving away, wakamshika na wakanyonga, wale wengine wakatoroka. So it's not like we do not want, but us using the word slaughter, I don't want anybody to be slaughtered, because we want everybody to see the fruits of removing Ruto out of there. I want Robert to see this guy out. I want Makiadi to see this guy out. I want the people in the comment section to see this guy out. We must not say that at tukienda huko. No, for me, I don't know. You like me or not? I want everybody in the comment section to see Ruto out so that we can all celebrate. Not that some people celebrate while we are burying others. I am for the revolution, but I'm not in a way so that we can have mass murder. Because if we go that way, we can win. Yes, people can die. But at the same time,
Ruto has gone and I'm burying my brother too. That's the difference I have with you.
Aya, Roba, dakika moja pia.
I want to talk to Stone BK and then Alex. Stone BK, you are 100% right. Somebody is telling people to pay taxes and demanding them, and yet some of his cabinets, some of his whatever, some of his members from UDA, that the people who are accused in court who never pay taxes, they own companies, they are not even paying it, and yet you are just the same person who yeah, very bad. Alex, I might agree with you a little bit, but at the same time, this thing is getting out of control. I saw some people there have bought military. You know, I just saw some Kenyans there saying, I mean, I don't know whether you have seen it. They are ready. I mean, I was surprised. They have, wamevalia uniform, wamefanya nini. This thing is getting out of control. Check out your tape. I just saw it this morning. It's like a couple hours ago. And they are saying they are ready to go. So it's just like if I was Ruto, I would find a solution on this. I wish everything would be peaceful until the end of it. But at the same time, why can't he just relinquish power? Just surrender. Just say, you know what? I saw the election. Let us compromise. Let's move on, or we go for another election. Otherwise, this thing is going to get out of control. I've seen people are mad. In fact, that's why I said, if Raila was to stay away, this thing is either way. So check that tape. People are already on their military uniforms. I mean, I just saw it. I'm not scared. No. That what may not, as long as Ruto gets out of power.
Wacha kwanza sasa tupatie Njerumani kidogo, alafu we'll have another lap. Naona watu wameisha kwa line sasa. Njerumani, karibu.
Thank you, Bwana Makiadi. Allow me to recognize the presence of very distinguished people here, starting with Stone PK. I also see Mzalendo there. Guru is present. Alex Bareleo. I see Roba and I see Domi. Allow me to start my submission with a very rhetorical question. Have we ever had a president in Kenya that we all said this particular president represents the best interests of the people of Kenya? Have we ever had such a president? As I say, this is just a rhetorical question. But allow me to jump back into history. And I'm shifting gears here very deliberately. And I know I'm making my submission to very wise people, both in the studio and in the comment section. And the wisdom of the people I'm submitting to will be able to decipher or make inference to what I'm saying without me being very direct. So here I start my history. I start my history from 1961. Contrary to public opinion, the first ever head of government of Kenya was Ronald Ngala. When I say first ever head of government, I mean first ever African head of government was Ronald Ngala. And this happened when Jomo Kenyatta was still in prison. The Legislative Council was in session. And the question of granting Kenya independence in 1975 was still looming large. And the question was Kenya ready for independence as early as the 1960s? So Kenya was supposed to actually attain independence in 1975. By twist of fate, Belgium granted Congo independence in 1960. And Ian MacLeod was saying, how is it that the Belgians will go before us? So we need to move in speed or with speed to also be seen to be the first Europeans to grant independence. But I move forward and speak about Ronald Ngala. So Ronald Ngala being the head of government, or the first African head of government, while Jomo Kenyatta was still in prison, was a very unsettling matter for Jomo Kenyatta, because when Jomo Kenyatta was released from prison, he still could not get into the Legislative Council, because there was a rule, or the law said if anyone has ever been in prison for more than 2 years, they stand ineligible to become a member of the Legislative Council. So Jomo Kenyatta was not eligible because he had been imprisoned for more than 2 years during the emergency period. But someone resigned from their seat, and then Jomo Kenyatta had the opportunity to get into LegCo. When he did get into LegCo, the question was, will he continue the nationalist initiatives of uniting Kenya as one nation and doing away with the injustices? Jomo Kenyatta and Ronald Ngala were then made joint constitutional affairs ministers. You'd expect that, having suffered injustice, because Jomo Kenyatta's case that had him thrown in jail, it emerged later or years later that the judge himself was bribed or paid money to relocate and start a new life after he passes sentence on Jomo Kenyatta. And he was paid. And these facts are available with us on record, only that I don't remember the name of the judge right now. But yes, he was bribed. And the details of that emerged years later. I proceed with the Ronald Ngala narrative and say that Ronald Ngala then became a thorn in Jomo Kenyatta's flesh, because he was always viewed as the leader Kenyans wanted, not Jomo Kenyatta. Only that Jomo Kenyatta held the national psyche, and Ronald Ngala was always viewed as the person who held fort while Jomo Kenyatta was in prison. Ronald Ngala was the man who took down the flag of the Sultan of Zanzibar at the coast. The red flag represented the Sultan of Zanzibar. He was the one who went and took it down in a ceremony flanked by the Giriama. I proceed. When the new government was now put in place, and I've skipped so many steps here, and now we had Jomo Kenyatta as president or leader of the country and leader of KANU. Jomo Kenyatta immediately went to consolidate his control and hold over the ruling party. And in controlling the ruling party, one of the things he did was to make sure that there will be no immediate challenge from a vice chairman. And he created a scenario where we now had regional vice chairman or regional KANU chairman. And that way he wanted to dilute the influence that Ronald Ngala held at a national level. He took it further. And I say he, I mean Jomo Kenyatta. Jomo Kenyatta took it further. And he really wanted to clip the wings of Ronald Ngala. Jomo Kenyatta supervised the elections held in the coast region, where Ronald Ngala was the regional KANU chairman of Mombasa branch. And Jomo Kenyatta went and supervised as a returning officer the elections that were held in that region in 1969. Nevertheless, but before I come to nevertheless, Jomo Kenyatta's point man, as we all know, in Hurlingham there's a road called Maalim Juma Road. So Maalim Juma was Jomo Kenyatta's point man in the Mombasa elections. And Jomo Kenyatta was backing him so that he could get rid of Ronald Ngala. Nevertheless, Ronald Ngala was able to win those elections, and he also became a member of the National Executive Council. His allies were people like Tom Mboya, and they all Ronald Ngala used to ask Tom Mboya, "Why do you people let this man push you around and have his way? Are you able to stand up to him?" And of course, this comes in the backdrop that at some point, Ronald Ngala was head of government. So he did not bow to Jomo Kenyatta as many people had done. But I take it forward. When Kenyatta died and Moi took over as president, one of the other quick things he did was consolidate his hold over the ruling party, KANU. He suspended all party activities for more than 90 days to allow him consolidate or grip the strings of power in KANU. And I skip forward again and I say, when Kibaki took over as president, one of the first things he did was kick out the LDP rebels so that he could have no challenge within his party in controlling government activities. And I skip forward. I go to Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta realized that his first term was not very effective. And the only way he could have a lot of sway and realize some of his goals is to make sure that he has control over his own party. This brought about the handshake that we all talk about, brought about the BBI. And the BBI became a thorn in the flesh of current President Ruto, because the BBI did not present a path to which Ruto was going to become president. It made it clear that the BBI was about to make Raila president and not Ruto. I speak of the BBI because when we talk about revolutions, the question comes, is the Kenyan citizenry ready? And I ask this question rhetorically because I'm one of the people who submitted my views to the BBI steering committee. So if you pick out the BBI report and you Google it, and you might find my name as one of the people who submitted views. And I'm listed there maybe 200 something, 220 something, as one of the people who submitted views. And the question, as I'm almost winding, is why is it that out of the millions of Kenyans that we have, no one, or we did not have as many people submitting their views? Never mind that later the BBI process was declared a nullity. But still, shouldn't we come forward and say, we want to take charge of how the nation is governed, and we want to be part and parcel of how decisions are made in taking matters forward, not leaving it to politicians. I look at the lengthy process that is being proposed by Azimio at this point of going around collecting views. And I say it comes at a risk. There could be internal wisdom that I'm not privy to. But what I know is that a lengthy process creates room for horse trading. It invites politicians to start saying what they want for themselves and not what the country needs. And that is the risk that I see going into tomorrow's, or maybe we may talk about today's event, that if we're going to talk about going around the country collecting views here and there, saying, let everyone have their say, then we start creating room for people to start also infiltrating the process. And we may have a result that not everyone will like. In closing, Makiadi, I want to come now to the current government. And I observed that the Ministry of Agriculture was spraying chemicals in Nyando irrigation scheme to take care of the Quella birds in Nyando. The Quella birds have been going into the rice schemes and eating all the grain, and residents were complaining. And I saw the response of government was to send drones with chemicals and spraying all over the irrigation scheme. And my question was, and here we're now seriously speaking about the competence of government. When government decides to spray chemicals, I'm asking, did they explore other alternatives? Because some of these alternatives include simple things like inflated, transparent polythene bags, the one people call juala, the one that you just inflate, tie with a string, suspend it in air. With the sun coming out, it creates something like a rainbow or prism effect, and light is spread all over. You might have seen these being used in butcheries. Someone will put water in a polythene bag, suspend it in a butchery, and flies will not come to that place. These are some examples that I'm talking about. Did government explore non-chemical opportunities to take care of the Quelia birds in Nyando? And if this is the case, then the question is, why was that quick decision made to use chemicals? And as I said, then it starts speaking to the competence of government. Was there a plan to govern? Was there only the plan ended at getting power? Thank you, Makiadi.
President William Ruto promises to take his presidential campaign a notch higher after the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission gave him the go-ahead to contest the presidency. And this afternoon, he campaigned, as you saw, in the capital, where he made a number of commitments to those who live and work in the capital and to the nation at large, should he assume the presidency. Allow me to catalogue them for you, beginning with what he promises as far as the capital city is concerned. Now, he promises to establish 20 new markets, ensure stable water supply as well as a working sewer system, and mortgages from 5,000 shillings and 5% interest on mortgage for those who are first-time home buyers. Now, let's take a look at his bottom-up economic pledges. And we begin with, let's change this graphic, if you will, please. There we go. He promises to inject 50 billion shillings into Mamamboga. He talks about boda kiosks, and he talks about doing this by facilitating access to credit as well as a what should I call it, a nurturing business environment. And he says he will do that by way of legislation. He also promises to increase the minimum wage from about 100 shillings to 200 shillings a day to 1,000 to 2,000 shillings a day. And he says he will inject 100 billion shillings into creating employment generating projects, including in the area of manufacturing, agro-processing and value addition. And notably, he says he will stop borrowing. And I want to quote exactly what he said. He said he will stop borrowing and invite friends to invest in Kenya in those areas I mentioned prior. All right, staying with bottom-up economics, he said he will bring down the cost of fertilizer to 2,000 shillings a bag. This is as far as farm inputs, saying that this is critical to reducing the cost